What's up guys, my name's Brandon and today I'm going to be showing you more than 110 new features and changes found in iOS 16 Beta 1. And I'm sure I'm going to discover even more hidden features in the coming days and weeks, so if you want to see all of those new features before your friends, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Now we do need to take a moment of silence for iPhone 6s, iPhone SE, and iPhone 7 users because those are not supported on iOS 16. iOS 16 only supports iPhone 8 and newer, so keep that in mind. All right, let's get into these new features. So first off, let's talk about Photos. So if we go to the Photos app and scroll all the way down to the bottom, you will see we have our hidden and recently deleted folders. And if you look to the right, we have a lock icon, and that means exactly what you think it means. We are not able to get into these folders unless we have Face ID or a passcode. And that is also a setting. So if we go to our settings and go to Photos, you can see we have a new toggle here for Use Face ID. That is what allows you to lock those folders with a passcode or Face ID. All right, now I want to blow your minds. So you see this photo right here? We have a subject and a background, right? Well, I can pull the subject from the background without any editing program. Take a look at this. Tap and hold, pull away, boom, done. I can drag and drop into a message right there, boom, send it, and there we go. I have a transparent image of my subject and it pulled it from the background in real time. Incredible. Also in the Photos application, we now have these three dots up in the top right hand corner. When you tap on that, you can see we have our copy, duplicate, hide, all of those functions right there, but it's now just in a new section with those three dots. And then also if we go into our share sheet, you can see the options button has changed up top as well. That's iOS 15 on the left, by the way. You can see options right there has changed. It has the same items inside that menu, just the look has changed. We also have the ability to merge duplicate photos and videos and delete the duplicate. So you can see down here at the bottom, we now have a new folder that's auto-populated called duplicates. You can see I have 163 duplicates and it shows all of them right here. So you can see I have a merge button right there to the right of every photo or video. If you tap on that, you will get this right here where it says merge to duplicates. So your phone will keep the highest quality version and delete the lower quality version. So once you tap on that, boom, it's done. You can select them all as well. If you tap on select, select all, and you can merge all duplicates right there. We also get live text for videos. So this is a big feature in iOS 15 for photos, but now it has come to videos. So if you have a video with text in it and you pause it on that frame, you can see we get the live text button down there in the bottom right. Tap on that and it will select all of the text that you can translate. It even shows us we can go to walmart.com right there, has like phone numbers, everything. We can copy this text. We go ahead and do that. You can see we can copy and paste that text right there. So awesome that we can now do that in videos. Now let's head back into the Messages application because we have quite a few changes in Messages as well. So let me go ahead and send something real quick. If I go ahead and send a message right here and I haptic press on the bubble, you can see we have two brand new options here. So we have undo send and edit. So yes, we can finally unsend messages and edit messages. Now if we tap on edit, you can see this is what the interface looks like. I can go ahead and type whatever I want to, tap on the check mark again, and it will say edited right next to that. So both you and the recipient will see that that has been edited. And you can edit this as many times as you want to, up to 15 minutes. So you have a 15-minute interval for when you can edit this. So after 15 minutes passes, you can no longer edit that message. You'll have to send another one. Now you can also unsend. So if we go ahead and tap on undo send, you can see the bubble disappears and we get a new little alert down there that says you unsent a message. And again, you and the recipient will see that. However, if you send a message to somebody that does not have iOS 16, you editing or unsending a message will not change anything on their end. So if you edit a message, it won't matter because it will still show up as you originally sent it. And if you unsend a message, it won't matter because it will not unsend on their end. So you need to make sure that if you're going to edit or unsend a message, that you're doing it to somebody who has iOS 16 on their device. Another feature I've been waiting years on is mark as unread. So we can now mark messages as unread so that the badge still shows up there. That way you know to go back in and reply, because if you're like me, sometimes you open up a message, you forget to reply, but if you have the option to mark it as unread, that will remind you later on that you need to reply to that text message. So that is there now in iOS 16. And then if you go all the way back, you can see we now also have an unread messages filter and also recently deleted. So you can now see your recently deleted messages and you can recover those. So if you tap on that and recover, you can recover all of your text messages that you deleted. Oh, and one more thing in messages, we now have this dictation button to the right of the message bubble right here. If we tap on that, you can see we can actually start talking and texting. So we're obviously using dictation to type out our words here, but we can also add in emojis. Watch this. Let's say devil emoji, smiley face emoji. What's another one? Grin face emoji. So you can see right here, these are, I don't know how there's a grin face, but you can see it's adding in these emojis to the text field right here. So that is a new feature as well. Now let's talk about the biggest change in iOS 16, and that is the lock screen redesign. So just take a look at that. I mean, look how awesome that lock screen looks. So where do we even begin? Let's actually not even begin on the lock screen. Let's go into our settings here and then go to the wallpaper section and then tap on the lock screen right here, because this is where you can see basically how we can edit this lock screen. So first off, we have these different ones that we could choose from. You can see right here, moon, earth detail. So that's all like different categories. I'll show you how to change that in a moment. But the important part is up here where we have our widgets, our date, and our time. So up top, if you don't want that to show the date, or if you want it to show the date really small and something else up there, you can do that. So if I go ahead and put in, let's just say stocks, for example, I can do that. And it shows the date to the left and it shows the stocks over there to the right above the time. If I tap on the time, we have the option to change the font style. So you can see it's a different font. I personally like this one the best right here. You could also change the color of the font. You can't change it individually. If you change one, it changes all of them, but you could change it right there. You could also go all the way down to the end to choose a custom color if you would like to. I like using the first one because it pulls in from the dominant colors of the background. Down here, you also have the option to add in widgets right here as well. If you wanted to add them, you just tap right there and it will add the widget to your lock screen. So let's go ahead and remove this one right here and let's add in, let's just say we'll add in clock. So let's add that in right there. I know it doesn't make any sense, but there you go. That's what it looks like. Tap on done, boom, we're done. Now we can go to the lock screen and that is what it looks like. Now, another cool way to edit your lock screen is just to tap and hold while you're on the lock screen. And this is where you really get to customize the lock screen, because take a look at this. You have all these different styles of lock screen that you can choose. And you can customize these, of course, if you want to as well. If you go to add new right here, this is where you can see everything that the lock screen has to offer. So you can start off by choosing if you wanted to have people, photos, if you wanted to have emojis, weather, astronomy, whatever you want, you could choose that right there. You have different featured ones as well to kind of show you what you can do. I really like the astronomy ones because I think the Earth and Moon are really cool. Like the animations are really cool on the lock screen. But you can see you have all of these right there. You can choose colors, you can choose gradients, whatever you would like to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose, I'll just choose weather just for now because I haven't done that one yet. And from here, you can go ahead and add in your widgets. So let's go ahead and add in fitness. We'll just add a little circle right there. Stocks, we'll add in this right here. And we'll add in one more thing. Let's add a battery widget. So there we go. We have 3 widgets right there. Boom. Let's tap on done. And now that is our lock screen. Actually, it's not on there right now, so we need to change to the one we just created. There we go. Now that is our lock screen. Now you'll also notice while we're on this lock screen that our notifications are coming in from the bottom. So that is also brand new here in iOS 16. And I love that. I love that the notifications just come in from the bottom instead of the top. We get to see more of the vital information up top along with the actual wallpaper. So I like it. It doesn't take away from anything. Also, the music player will always be down here. This section is actually called live activities. So this is a dedicated spot for music, sports games, or really anything that's constantly changing and moving right there. So that section is also really neat. Also, this is a small thing, but take a look at the animation of the lock icon here above the clock. When I go ahead and unlock my phone, look at that. It kind of just fades away into the abyss. Really small detail, but I love the small details. And if you wanted to change your home screen wallpaper, you could tap right here and you could choose between a matching one to your lock screen. So you can have a blur on or off. You could choose a gradient. If you tap on configure, you can see the different gradients right here, or you can choose your own by tapping on the rainbow button right there. You can do a solid color, or you could choose from your photos right here for a wallpaper, which is what I usually always do. I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to choose this wallpaper right here. Then we have the option to either do natural or black and white. I'm going to keep it as is. I'm going to not disable any of the perspective zoom or depth effects, and we're going to tap on done. There we go. Tap on done once again. It hasn't updated, but there we go. Now we have our wallpaper right here on the home screen. Now, also one thing I forgot to mention on the lock screen is that when you haptic press on this, you can see we have the focus linking, and this is pretty cool as well. So you can link a focus mode to a lock screen. Like for example, if you're going to sleep, you know, if you have a focus mode on for sleep, maybe you want your lock screen to just show like your alarm clock and the time and maybe like a really dark sky or something like that. But if you're driving, maybe you want it to have like your battery levels or something more important. So you can link your focus modes to your lock screens, which I think is pretty neat. And if you ever wanted to unlock your phone in landscape mode, you can now do that with iOS 16. Now down at the bottom of the home screen, you will see we have a search button when you're not switching pages. So you can see it is the page picker right there, the page dots, but when you stop, it turns into a little search text right there, a little search bar. And when you tap on that, that takes you to the Spotlight search, which of course nothing has really changed here. Spotlight search has gotten a little bit smarter, but the overall interface is the same, aside from being towards the bottom of the phone now, as opposed to the top of the phone. Now you can turn that off if you would like to. If you go into your settings here and to home screen, you have the option to turn off show spotlight. That way it just always shows your page dots. So you could choose, I like it on. I just wish the text was a little bit smaller. Maybe it will in the future. Now, if you guys haven't noticed, my lock screen is a little bit cluttered right now. I don't really like how all these notifications look. Well, luckily with iOS 16, there's a pretty easy fix for that. And it's just a little pinch of the fingers. Watch this. Pinch, pinch, gone. Now it just shows the amount of notifications down at the bottom. If I tap on that, it will show them again. If I pinch, it will put them down just like that. So you could do that pinch gesture, or you can go into your settings and then go to notifications. And right up top, we have display as. So in here we have count, stack, and list. So count, of course, looks like this, where we just have the notifications. Let me go ahead and do that again. That is what count looks like. If we go ahead to stack, that's what stack looks like. It just stacks all our notifications up. And then if we have list, that is what list looks like. It actually looks the same. I don't know why it didn't change. It's pretty buggy here, but yeah, that's what it looks like. But I like count the best. I think it looks the cleanest on that lock screen. I just like using the 3-finger gesture to invoke that. We do have a new control center toggle with iOS 16, and that is for quick notes. So you can see right there, that is the quick note toggle. If you tap on that, it will just take you to create a new quick note, which of course you can access on your iPad or your Mac as well. And as far as widgets go, there is one new widget, and that is for books. So if you go down to widgets and go to books, you can see we have 3 different sizes for the books widget. We also have some pretty nice changes to focus modes. So if we go into our settings and go to focus and then go to one of our focus modes right here, we can see there is a nice UI change. So if we go into our settings here on iOS 15 on the left, you can see there is a pretty nice difference in the UI here. It looks a lot less cluttered. It looks a lot more just modern. I mean, look, this is what it looked like before. It showed home screen, lock screen, name and appearance. Look at it now. It actually shows like the screens there. Looks so much better. Also before it said add, schedule, or automation. And from here you had smart activation, and basically you could just activate a focus mode from time, location, or app. And now you have an automation section, but you also have focus filters. So focus filters, you can see that you could customize apps during a working focus, and selected apps will be notified when this focus mode turns on or off. So you have app filters and system filters in addition to the automations. So focus modes are getting much better here in iOS 16. Inside of the music application, we have a new volume slider and a new duration slider. So they're both the same. We just don't have the little ball at the end of the slider, which I actually like. I think it gives it a flat, really clean and modern look. Also, if we go into one of our playlists and tap on the 3 dots up in the top right hand corner, we now have the option to sort by. So if you tap on sort by, you can sort the playlist by title, artist, album, or release date. So I like sorting this by release date. That way the newest songs are now at the top as opposed to the bottom. We also now get the option to favorite an artist. So if we go to an artist page here on Apple Music, we now have a little star icon up in the top right hand corner. If you tap on that, it will favorite that artist, and that will give you notifications when they release new music, and it will also improve your music recommendations. And speaking of music, we now have a new section in settings for the AirPods. So when you pair your AirPods with your iPhone, you can see right there, we now have a new section at the top of settings that shows our AirPods. When you tap on that, it gives you a nice UI here of the charging for the case and the AirPods themselves with a nice visual there. And then also if we go down, we now have a new feature called personalized spatial audio. When you tap on that, it shows you how this works. So it says use iPhone to capture a high resolution scan of your ear geometry for improved spatial audio on all of your Apple devices. So if you wanted to do that, you can. You will have to scan yourself though. Safari also gets some changes in iOS 16. So if you haptic press on a tab right here, we now have the option to pin the tab. So if I tap on pin tab, it will now show up at the top as a pin. If I tap on that, it will take me into that tab very quickly and easily. This whole section just looks better than it did in iOS 15. And it also says local now up in the top left, and just text in general up in the top left, whereas it didn't show anything in iOS 15 over here on the left-hand side of the screen. I like to look better here on iOS 16. We also have some other changes, like we have the new share across devices. So if you have settings that you want to share across devices, you can now do that. So if we go into our settings here, and then if we scroll down a little bit to settings for websites, we have a toggle there for share across devices. So this will share things like your page zoom, your reader settings, just any small setting that you made on a website that will share those settings across all of your devices where you have Safari. And the same goes with extensions. So your extensions will now be shared across devices as well. If you would like them to, you could have that toggle turned on or off right there. Also, if you have a tab group, you now have a share button up in the top right-hand corner. And if you tap on that, you now have the option to collaborate with others. So there's a collaborate button right there. So you could send that and collaborate, and somebody else can add in tabs to this tab group. We also have some additional options for find on page. So when you go to find on page on iOS 16, you can see we now have an option to do whole words or match case when we tap on the magnifying glass, whereas in iOS 15, there was no option for that. It was just simply a search for find on page. So you can get a little bit more specific now in iOS 16. And then we have other small things like the web page image translation, which is basically going to add support for translating text and images using live text, along with passkeys, which are going to replace passwords with an easier and safer sign-in, which is going to be safe from phishing and website leaks and things like that. You'll also be able to sign in on other devices by just simply scanning a QR code. In the Maps application, we have a new UI for our directions right here. So you can see pretty much everything has changed on this page and now shows directions up top and set up to where we're going. We can now see the leaving now and avoid. It's no longer just these little toggles down at the bottom. They're these buttons which are more in line with everything. And also we have the ability to add a stop. So if you wanted to add a stop right here, you could do that. Also, if you wanted to move these locations around, like if you wanted to go to another one before one that you added in there, you can do that. You can change around the destinations and add a stop. You also have, again, you could change your driving, walking, transit, all that from these three buttons right here, instead of being all spaced out and all over the place in iOS 15. There's also added functionality for those who take public transportation. So we have transit cards in Maps now. So you can add your transit cards to Wallet and you can see your balances in the Maps application without having to leave. You also have transit fares. So you can see how much your journey is going to cost with transit fares. We have quite a few changes in shortcuts as well. So first off, you could see that we have a new glyph icon for Apple Watch right there. We have app shortcuts as a section down here. We only have voice memos for now, but that is a new section. Down at the very bottom, you can see the glyph icon has changed for shortcuts. It used to say My Shortcuts. Now it just says Shortcuts with a new glyph icon. And then over here on the right, the gallery glyph icon has also been changed. Also, the all shortcuts glyph icon has changed there as well. You can see what it was like over on the left on iOS 15. If we tap on that, you can see we also get a new way to view our shortcuts. So you can see if we tap on this button right here, we can view our shortcuts as a list instead of as a grid, which I really like this. You can see it's kind of bugged out up there, but I like the list view a lot. Also, if we add a new shortcut, we can see the whole UI pretty much has changed here. So that's what it looked like before on the left on iOS 15. Here's what it looks like on the right on iOS 16. So before we had to tap on this blue button right here, and this is where we got all of our settings. Now we just tap on this right here. We have a little sub menu right here. This is where we can rename, choose icon, duplicate, and then all the other settings are down here. When we tap on this eye, that's where we have our details, privacy, and setup section. So everything is just laid out much smarter here in iOS 16, and it's much easier to navigate when you're creating a new shortcut. And the camera application, you might notice a change in the quality for cinematic mode because Apple has improved the quality for that feature. So if you can shoot that, you might notice an improvement in quality. Same with portrait photos. If you take portrait photos a lot, you might notice that foreground blur has been improved here with iOS 16. In FaceTime, we now have the option to hand off to another device. So if you want to hand off a FaceTime call to a Mac or an iPad or another iPhone, you can now do that with iOS 16. We also get the option for live captions. So if you tap up top right here, you can see we now have a new toggle for live captions. So you can see the captions of what everybody is saying. So if somebody is deaf or hard of hearing, they can see what everybody's saying instead of having to hear them. And then if we tap on SharePlay up in the top right-hand corner, we now have a new section here for apps for SharePlay. So you can see the different apps you have installed that are able to take advantage of the SharePlay feature. And if you tap on more, it will actually take you into the App Store to show you pretty much all the applications that can use SharePlay. And the Notes application, if we go into one of our folders, you can see the layout is much more organized, and now it breaks it down by the date. So you can see it says today, yesterday, previous 7 days, previous 30 days, whereas before it just showed everything in one big list. It wasn't very helpful. It's kind of cluttered. So that is new here in iOS 16. Now, if you don't like that, if you like everything being cluttered and all together, you can change it. You tap on the 3 dots right there. They're called date headers. So you could turn that off and it will combine everything into one section there. But I like that feature, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that on. There's also a cool new feature to find and replace text. So if you tap on the 3 dots up in the top right hand corner and go to find in note, you can see we have a little magnifying glass right here. If you tap on that, you now have the option to find and replace, and you can do it for whole words or match case. So I tap on find and replace, you can find a word and replace it with something else. And then finally, one feature I've been waiting on Apple to add for years is the ability to lock a note and use your iPhone's passcode as the key. So if you go into your settings here, you can see under password, you can use your device passcode or a custom passcode, and you can also use Face ID. So use device passcode basically is just your passcode to get into your device. Like for me, it's 0000, but that makes it much easier than having to set a random passcode for every single note, which I've had to do in the past. The Mail application now gets some nice improvements. So we can now get reminded of a message. So if we swipe over on the right, you can see we have a new little toggle there for later. If you tap on later, you can get reminded of this message in an hour, tonight, tomorrow, or at a set date and time. You can also schedule an email to be sent at a certain time. So if you go ahead and compose an email and you're ready to send it, but you don't want to send it yet, you want to schedule it, all you have to do is haptic press here or long press on the send button, and you will see the option to either send now, send at 9 p.m. tonight or tomorrow, or send later, which is where you have a view here where you can choose a specific date and time to send that email. And then you also get the option to unsend an email just like we do with messages. So if you go ahead and send this email, you can see at the bottom down here, we do have the option to undo send. So if you tap on that, it will remove the email. It will save it as a draft. You can go back in here and edit it, or you could just completely remove that email. And of course, the other person will not get an indication that you unsent a message like it happens on iMessage. The Wallet application now has a new button up here in the top right, and if you tap on that, you can see it is for orders. So you can see it says orders you place with participating merchants will appear here. So it looks like we're no longer going to need to track like on USPS and UPS.com, because it looks like all of our orders, at least if you order through Apple Pay, will be shown right here inside of the Wallet application. So nothing is showing up right now, but I cannot wait for this to start working and showing all of my orders right here in this app. iOS 16 also introduces Apple Pay Later, which allows you to split your Apple Pay purchase into 4 equal payments over 6 weeks. So I'm not the biggest advocate for this. I'm just not a big fan of, if you can't afford it, you shouldn't be buying it. And this kind of gives more leeway to people who can't afford things to buy it. But nonetheless, I think it's a pretty cool feature, and I like the UI here. It's not fully functional yet, but it will be, of course, by the time iOS 16 officially releases. And then we also have key sharing with iOS 16, which allows you to share your keys via iMessage or, mail or WhatsApp, whatever application you send it through, and it's all managed inside of the wallet application. So this can be keys like for a hotel, for a car, for a house, anything that's going to be stored in the wallet app. And then if you have your driver's license or state ID added in your wallet application, you can now share your ID information in applications that require your identity and age verifications. You don't need to actually put in your birthday. Your phone will know that you have your ID added to the wallet app and auto fill that for you. The home application gets a complete redesign in iOS 16, and I think it looks so much better. It looked very clunky on iOS 15, as you can see here on the left-hand side. I never really liked how this looked down here, and I like now how on iOS 16, it kind of just breaks everything down by the room. We have the little speakers and TVs button up there, and it just looks so much better now. And when you tap on the menu bar right there, you can see it now shows reorder sections instead of edit screen. I'm pretty sure they do the exact same thing. Yeah, but it's just different, and we have a different interface right here as well, which makes it easier to switch around the different rooms, the order of the rooms. And then we do also have Matter support coming later this year. So Matter is a new smart home connectivity standard that's going to enable compatible accessories to work together seamlessly across all platforms. So it's going to allow you to choose from even more compatible smart home accessories and control them with the Home app and Siri. And speaking of Siri, we do also have a couple of changes related to Siri. So if we go to our Siri and search settings right here, you can see that we now have a new section here for automatically send messages. So you can now turn that on, and you can also change it if it's when connected to a certain headphone or CarPlay. So that of course is going to just skip the confirmation step that you used to have to do with Siri. You can also now hang up a call by simply saying to hang up. We also get expanded app and offline support for Siri as well. Inside the settings application, we do have a couple of changes in here as well. First off, you can see we have the family sharing up top right here underneath of where our iCloud section is. That was never there before, so that is new. Also, if we go into our iCloud section here and then tap on iCloud, you can see this section is so much cleaner than it was on iOS 15. So here's iOS 15 on the left, iOS 16 on the right. So you can see everything is just broken down. Everything is not just in one big long list. It's now broken down, and you have the ability to show all if you would like to see everything, but you don't have to right here. And it shows your iCloud backups. It's also labeled now to say device backups, sync with iCloud. Everything is kind of labeled and just a lot more organized than it was previously. Also down here, we have private relay, hide my email, and custom email domain. Now everything is in one little section down here, and it's actually called iCloud Plus. So again, just much better labeling, and just the whole UI looks much better. And this also now says manage account storage instead of manage storage. Another feature that came in iOS 16 that I know you guys will like is a haptic keyboard. So if you go to your sounds and haptic settings and then go down to keyboard feedback, you can enable haptic. That way, every time you type a key, you will actually feel the haptic feedback. So if we swipe down here, if I start typing, I can feel the haptic feedback every time I'm typing here on the keyboard. So I know some of you guys love that from like Gboard and other keyboard apps, but now we have that built in to iOS. Just make sure that vibration is turned on, and this section is turned on as well. The haptic right here is turned on. Now also, this section right here is brand new as well. It says ring silent mode switch. So you can play haptics in ring mode or play haptics in silent mode. So you could turn that on or off there. We have these little glyph icons down here as well, telling us what this means. And if we head down to our settings, you can see that privacy is now privacy and security. And if you go ahead into there, we can go down. We have a couple of things that have changed in here. So if we go down to safety check, this is new. So it says protect your personal safety by staying aware of which people, apps, and devices have access to your information. And if you tap on that, you can see it shows everything right here. This, of course, is meant for those in domestic abuse situations, with a partner. And this allows you to quickly reset the access they've granted to that partner or others in general. It also helps you manage which people and which apps you've given access to in the past. And I really like this section here for manage, sharing, and access, where you can actually customize which people specifically have access to your information, and you can review everything right here. So if I tap on this, you can review. Let's tap on continue, and you can see it shows these are the people that I am sharing my location with, or I guess I'm sharing certain things with. So note sharing, find my and notes, I didn't even know all these people had this information actually. So it's pretty interesting here. You tap on information, you can see 2 people can see my location. Note sharing, 3 people have access to your shared nodes. So just a couple of things you can see right here, and you can stop sharing all of that in one click. And then at the bottom of privacy and security, we have this new section here called developer mode. And if you tap on that, you can see it says, if you're developing apps for Apple products, developer mode allows you to use features that are required for app development. When developer mode is turned on, your device security will be reduced. So I'm not sure if this is side loading, but this is a brand new feature in iOS 16 meant for developers. In the App Store section, if we go down under automatic downloads, you can see there's some more verbiage underneath that. There's also quite a few accessibility features in iOS 16. So if you have an Apple Watch, you can now mirror your Apple Watch screen to your iPhone, which is great if you cannot see the small screen on the Apple Watch. You also have a new switch in magnifier. So we go ahead and open up the magnifier application. We go down here to our settings and then tap on settings again. We now have detection mode. So you can see when you scroll over on it and tap on it, you get those different options right here for people detection. You have this one for door detection and image descriptions. So you have all those new settings here in the magnifier app. And the files application, we now have a new shared folder down at the bottom in that bottom nav bar right there. If you tap on that, of course, it shows you that one shared folder. And if you tap on the 3 dots right here, we also have view options right there where you can group it by the kind, date, size, or shared by. You also have show all extensions right there as well, whereas before it just showed use groups right there. We also have quick actions. So if you haptic press on one of your files in here, let's go ahead and haptic press on both of these. You can see we now have a new setting right here called quick actions. If you tap on quick actions, you can really quickly do things like markup. You can create a PDF, convert image, remove background. You can do all of that via a quick action in files. And if we open up one of our files inside of the files application, you can see the UI is different here as well. So you can see, look at the top. You can see up there, it used to show like this. Now it's like this. So quite a change here. And we can tap on this top bar right here and you can see it has save image, export and print, and it shows the file size and everything right there. We also have these little 3 dots right here, the 3 little rows right there, which shows you a list view of all of the other files that are included in the folder that this was in. You have your markup in the bottom right now and your share sheet in at the bottom left as it was before. And the health application, we now have a new section down here for medications. So if you tap on medications, you can add in a medication here so you can remember when to take it. So if you search for something, I'll just search for vitamin C. You could also do this for like supplements and things like that. So I'm just going to do vitamin A and D right there. Now it will ask you, when will you take this? You can change the frequency. So you can do every day, specific days of the week as needed, or you could choose something specific right here along with your start days. So I'll just do at regular intervals right there. So we'll add a time of the day as well. So there we go, 4:35 a.m. I take 1 unit, tap on next. You could choose the shape of this pill right here. So we're just gonna tap this one. Next, you could choose the color of the pill. So we'll choose that. You could change the size and everything. It's pretty advanced here. It's pretty awesome. You could add a nickname and add notes if you would like to, and boom, you're done. And now you have a calendar to track all of your medications. You'll also notice that you now have the fitness application, even if you didn't have an Apple Watch. So fitness is now on all iPhones, regardless of if you have an Apple Watch or not. We also have a couple of changes inside of reminders. So you can now pin different lists. So you can see right here, I have my iOS 16 list. If I haptic press on that and pin, it will put it up here with all of the others. So that is up there now. If we tap on this, tap on these 3 dots right here, we can now save that as a template. So that is new in iOS 16, being able to save lists as templates. And you can see it says, templates use copies of the list current reminders. You can view, edit, or use templates when adding or managing lists. And if you tap on the 3 dots up in the top right-hand corner, you can see the templates are right there. And you can see this is my iOS 16 template. If you tap on the eye, you can edit that template, create a link, or delete it. And the calendar application, if you go to add a new event, you will see that things are a little bit more spaced out and a little bit easier to read. So you can see right here, everything was kind of clunked together on iOS 15, repeat and travel time all together. You can see they're separated now, along with alert and show as. They're both separated now, and it just looks better and easier on the eyes. You can also now copy and paste events. So if you have an event right here and you haptic press on that, you can see you now get the option to cut, copy, and paste. And if you copy that and then go up to, let's just say 5 p.m. right here, you can see underneath title, it now shows that test event was copied from the clipboard. If you tap on that, it will paste it in right there. And then also, if you look closely, you can see the arrows next to none are facing up and down, whereas before on iOS 15, they were just facing to the side, just one little arrow to the side. So just another minor change there. The Contacts application gets some nice improvements that are long overdue. So number one, we can finally delete a contact with a simple haptic press. So if you haptic press on that, you can see right here, we now have delete contacts. And once you tap on that, it asks if you're sure, you can go ahead and delete that contact just like so. Before, it used to be very cumbersome. You would have to go into the contact, go all the way down to delete, confirm your delete. Now it's just so easy. You could do it straight here from this list view. Now we also have this new section up here that says duplicates found. And just like we have for the Photos application, we can now merge contact duplicates. So you can see I have 108 duplicates found. If we tap on that, it will show us the contacts that have been duplicated. So for instance, FedEx right here, you could see these are both of the ones that have been found to be duplicates with the same name and number. So if we tap on merge again, there we go, we've merged that. Of course, we can go ahead and merge all at the same time as well if we just simply tap on the merge button. So we will no longer have multiple of the same contacts in the Contacts application, which is huge because I don't know about you guys, but I have tons of duplicates in there. The timer UI on the lock screen looks amazing here in iOS 16. So we go ahead and set a timer real quick and go back to our lock screen. Look at the UI there for the timer on the lock screen. I love that. I love the animation of the countdown right here. I also love how compact the timer is in this little rectangle right here. You can pause it, you can cancel it, all of that straight from the lock screen. Also, you may have noticed this the whole time, but in my status bar right there next to the Wi-Fi, it says SOS. That is new in iOS 16. That is only if you do not have a SIM card in your iPhone or if you just have no service. So it says SOS only now instead of saying no service or no SIM. You can see it kind of goes back and forth between the two, but that's new. We've never seen that SOS before. There's also a new look in the Now Playing card in the control center. So take a look at that up in the top right hand corner. When you're playing music, you can see it shows the AirPods glyph icon when you have AirPods connected. So it shows it right there, and it also shows it in the little mini square right there in the top right. The default Safari video player has completely changed here with iOS 16. So this is the new look. I don't think I'm a big fan of it, at least not yet. So we have the same type of scrubber right here, the same style as we see in the music application for the volume slider. The play pause is right there in the middle. We have our mute up in the top right. We have our AirPlay down there in the bottom right, and these 3 dots for playback speed and subtitles. If you take a screenshot and you haptic press on that screenshot, we get some new options. So right here, underneath where it shows the name of that screenshot, you can rename it right away. So if I wanted to name this something random, I can go ahead and submit, and now the image will be renamed to whatever I just set right there. If I save it to the Files application, email, or whatever, it will now have that name instead of the default screenshot name. You can also add it to a quick note or a shared album. In the Stocks application, we can now see earnings dates for the companies that we are interested in. We could also have multiple watch lists. So if you tap right here on the watch list section, you can see you can manage your watch list or add a new one, and you can break it down by whatever you want to. So I have mine set to tech. That way I can only track tech in this watch list. We also have these 3 dots now up in the top right hand corner that allows us to share the symbol, copy the link, or manage symbol. So you can remove it or add it to specific watch lists. In the Find My application, if you go to the Me tab in the bottom right, you can see we have a slightly new UI here. So it now shows my location over here on the left with that little glyph icon right there. It also shows our location as home, and you can see everything is just moved around here in this section. I think it looks a little bit cleaner than it did on iOS 15. The weather application also sees a change for the map UI. So if we go into our weather map right here, if we go to precipitation, you can see that it's slightly changed down there at the bottom, the way it shows the next hour forecast. And you can also change it between the next hour and the 12 hour very easily now. And just that whole bar down there is different, and it also doesn't disappear like this one did. Apple is now adding more local news to the news application, so you should start seeing your local news start appearing more inside of your Today view. Now we do also get favorites inside of the following section. So if you go to the following tab, you now have a favorite section and you could add different channels and topics to that. You also have a My Sports section that allows you to follow your favorite teams, leagues, and athletes inside of the News app. In the Translate application, we now have a new navigation bar for camera. This of course allows us to use our camera to translate something in real time. So if I would go ahead and take a picture of, let's just say, my iPhone right here, if I capture that, you can see I took a picture and now I want to convert it from English to Spanish. You can see right there, it's showing in real time the translation from that image. There's also some nice changes to the Books application. So we now have reading themes. So if you go down here to themes and settings, we now have different reading themes for different environments and moods. You could also change the font, the spacing, the text size, and other things all right here, which is pretty nice. You could have it match surroundings, match device, etc. And if you listen to audiobooks, you will really love this feature. So we now have our own player inside of the Books application. It also acts as a mini player as well. So you can go throughout the Books application and you will see that mini player always down there at the bottom where you can play and pause. So there you have it, guys. Those are over 110 new features and changes found in iOS 16, and this is just beta 1. So definitely stay tuned to the channel for more iOS 16 coverage. If you want to see all of that, make sure to tap that little subscribe button down below. And if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.